Most parents talk to their kids about important topics such as sex, alcohol, and drugs. They teach them how to drive and even a few skills to get ahead in life. But a topic that always seems to be missing is money. Money's a tough subject to discuss with kids, especially when parents feel they don't know enough themselves to teach their kids and are afraid of teaching their kids the wrong things about money. In the book, How to Make Your Kid a Money Genius Even If You're Not, author Beth Kobliner has a few rules to follow when talking to your kids about money. As Kobliner explains, these rules are more like guidelines to keep in mind. The goal is not to be a financial drill sergeant with your kids, but instead keep them in mind and use them when the opportunity presents itself. As Kobliner says, most learning happens in everyday teachable moments. So here are a few rules to make your kid a money genius. Number 1. Start earlier than you think. Researchers in the University of Wisconsin-Madison report that many children age 3 are able to grasp economic ideas such as value and exchange, although in a very rudimentary way. At this age, they are able to delay gratification and make choices. Kids at this age are eager and able to understand a lot, and sometimes more than we realize. This age can be a great opportunity to teach them where money comes from and how to pay for things, especially when playing. This can help them understand the concept of money and that things have monetary value. This is a prime age to teach the concept of patience. There is a famous experiment called the marshmallow test, where young children were given a marshmallow and told that if they didn't eat it right away, they'll get a second marshmallow. What is interesting is that researchers followed this group of kids for decades and found that those kids who waited for a second marshmallow ended up significantly more successful as adults. They had better relationships, achieved higher levels of education, and earned more money on average. The great news is that patience and delayed gratification can be taught, and this can be done in many ways, at the checkout line at the grocery store or the car ride on the way to the park. A great method to use is to remind them that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can get what they want if they are patient, and show them fun ways to distract themselves to make time go faster. This can be a great age to begin saving money together, whether it's for a specific reason like buying a pizza or a trip to the water park. It can be a great practice to teach the importance of saving money by actually doing it together. Number 2, make it age appropriate. According to Kobliner, it is important to adapt the message to the kids' age level. Teaching kids of preschool age that money has value, where money comes from, that money can be exchanged for things, and begin creating a habit of saving can be a simple yet a great way to start a foundation of good money habits. For an elementary schooler, teaching a concept of opportunity cost and how sometimes they have to stop spending money on the daily Doritos bag to be able to save money to pay for the toy they want. This is where kids begin getting fascinated with earning money so they can do odd jobs or extra jobs in the house outside of chores. This can also be a great age to teach the concept of interest and how some banks keep your money safe while giving you a small percentage of free money. In middle school, it can be a good idea to teach the importance of always having money around, or as Kobliner says, it is never good to have no money. It is fine for a kid to save money to buy an item, but focus on not spending every penny we have on it. If a purchase wipes out their entire bank account, then it's a good idea to wait and save a little more before buying. In high school is where we can begin earning money and saving for important parts of their life, such as college. Research shows that kids whose parents carry the full burden of college costs score lower GPAs than kids who chip in. Although the reason is not clear, the most accepted theory is that when a kid feels he or she has some skin in the game, they will be more motivated to take full advantage of this sacrifice. This is also a great time to teach kids about the reality of taxes. Usually, this is where kids first begin getting jobs and receiving paychecks, so this is prime time to teach why their checks will be smaller than expected. This is where we can teach about the deductions that can be used before the government takes taxes out, like 401k contributions, health insurance, or any flexible spending accounts. Also teaching that it can be a good idea to contribute to a 401k at least as much as the employer is willing to match, since this is essentially free money. We can also teach that there are generally 3 types of taxes that get deducted from their paycheck. Income tax, which is federal, state, and sometimes local, which helps the government fund schools, highways, and more. They'll also pay Social Security and Medicare taxes. It is important for them to understand the difference between gross versus net pay. Gross pay is the amount you earn before taxes are taken out. Net pay is the amount you receive after taxes and other deductions are subtracted. This is where we can talk about investing, compounding interest, and the benefits of building an investments fund. Using an example like if he invests $500 into an investments account like a Roth IRA or an index fund at the age of 16 with an 8% growth rate, by the age he's 65, these $500 will turn into over $20,000. Keeping these topics age appropriate can help the kid enjoy learning about money instead of feeling overwhelmed by the thought of money. Number 3. Use anecdotes. Most people, not just kids, learn better when we use stories to convey a message. And it is no different with money. Many parents understand that when they go into lecture mode, their kids tend to tune out, or worse, they actually do the opposite of what was told. If you tell your high school kid how a friend couldn't get an apartment to live in because she ranked a lot of credit card debt from overly shopping the year before, will create a longer lasting impression than simply saying credit card debt is bad. Stories can show how decisions lead to consequences without it feeling like a lecture, and stories tend to stick with kids' minds much better than just information. Number 4. Use real numbers. We tend to remember examples over just concepts. Telling a kid it is important to put money for retirement is more forgettable than if you tell them that if they invest $300 a month in a retirement account starting at the age of 18, by the time they are 65, they will have over $1 million. The word $1 million inevitably makes the high schooler take notice and have a stronger impression of the importance of saving for retirement. If you're not sure where to get your numbers, there's a great free tool that will help you calculate the compounding interest based on interest rates, amount saved, and length of time. This is a government site called investors.gov. And no, this is not sponsored, just really like the tool to calculate the compounding interest of any investment. Number 5. Don't overshare your financial past. There's been studies that show that kids whose parents share details about their past indulgence in drugs or alcohol are more likely to also indulge in those behaviors. In a similar way, Kobliner suggests that telling your kids about the time you empty your bank account to go on a road trip with your girlfriend might actually glamorize this behavior even if you tried to tell them it was a bad idea. Most of us had made bad financial decisions at some point in our lives, but there's no need for your kids to know that. Number 6. Identify your financial baggage, then leave it behind. For many people, their parents never taught them about money or got their money habits as a result of their parents' behavior. Whether they copy their parents' financial patterns or do exactly the opposite, there are many people who blame their financial habits on their parents. Although it's always a good idea to be aware of how your parents handle money and how that has affected your financial behavior, it's not a good idea to use it as an excuse to explain away your bad money habits, or worse, avoid teaching your kids about money. As Kobliner says, identify your financial baggage, then leave it behind. Approach money in a positive way, even if it's not easy at the beginning, to avoid passing this negative feeling about money to your kids. Number 7. Keep money fights behind closed doors. Researchers have found that college students whose parents regularly fought about money when they were younger were 3 times more likely to have credit card debt of at least $500 or more than kids whose parents kept their financial peace. It is very likely that you and your partner might not agree in every money decision, but it is important to shield kids from big money disagreements. A good idea is to create a money timeout for parents only to discuss money decisions. And if it's related to the kids, for example, you can simply tell them, "We're not sure about paying for that yet. We'll discuss it and get back to you." This can show them that you take the time to make those decisions logically instead of emotionally. Number 8. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians. It is natural to make comparisons with other people, and living on a consumer-centric, media-driven culture doesn't help. Nevertheless, it is important to fight the urge to compare your family's money choices with anyone else's, especially within the hearing range of your kids. Research shows that comparing aspects of their financial life with others make people generally less happy, especially in the world of social media, where we can easily see those with better or who appear to have a better financial life. This can be a particularly dangerous trap. If you want to teach your kids to avoid the trap of keeping up or looking down on their friends or family, stay clear of that behavior yourself. Number 9. There is no need for kids to know which parent makes more. If you and your partner both work full-time, avoid discussing who makes more. Putting dollar amounts on what mom and dad earn can send a message, especially to young kids, that one parent's contribution is more important. If one of them is a stay-at-home parent, it can be useful to teach the value of stay-at-home parenting and making it clear that it is a job too, and how it's best for one parent to do it instead of paying someone else to. In general, it is best to display unity. We are a team, we work together, and it doesn't matter who earns what. Number 10. Don't flaunt bad money behaviors in front of your kids. This one might seem obvious, but it can be very easy to say, do as I say, not as I do, as an excuse for bad money habits. Even if you're not perfect, it is important to not lead by example when it comes to bad money habits. Trying your best to get your own financial life in order and have a great mindset when it comes to money can send a more powerful message than just talking about it. Alright guys, this was a quick summary of the book Make Your Kid a Money Genius Even If You're Not by Beth Kobliner. Now this book has a lot of information that is impossible to fit it in a single video, so I highly recommend the read if you have some children. Now let me know in the comments which idea from this book resonated with you the most, and what ideas do you have to help kids learn about the subject of money. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.